Got a brand new Jeep.
Okay, so I didn't get to go to last week's Girl Scout meeting. I went out of town with my dad. So Kathy and Kirsten run Girl Scouts, and and we had to make food that was invented where you live, right, in LA. So they made. Tell them. I wasn't there, so you tell them what happened.
They made Cobb salad, which they complained about they enjoyed the process of chopping, but it was like, I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat pork.
I don't like cheese.
I don't like eggs.
Bacon.
Yeah, I
Can
don't.
we have it without the egg? What about the avocado? Do I have to have that in?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm like, so you want a sea salad with just chicken? I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
There were a lot of complaints.
they were funny.
And
And a lot of
and
leftover.
then did you even hear about
I
the
did
bacon
tell her.
tail? Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about the bacon tail, but you can retell it. It's pretty funny.
So we went to lay out all the
Funny is one
ingredients
word.
for the Cobb salad. And when I removed the things from the fridge, there was no bacon. And I said to Kathy, I swear I put the bacon in here. And she's like, well, just look around. Maybe you forgot to put it in there. Maybe it slipped down somewhere. But it's a virtually empty fridge. There are like a handful of things in the fridge. And I said, no. And when I'm packing for Girl Scouts, like we often have a lot of gear and a lot of ingredients and stuff. And I was bringing like bags that Leanne had brought me, and I was bringing my own stuff. And there was a lot of stuff. So I made a point of like making a list and like making sure to pull these things out of the fridge, the chicken, the bacon, the Sprite for the Shirley Temples. And so I was itemizing it, and I was like, no, I'm sure that it went into the fridge. I'm positive, but it wasn't in the fridge. And so we, after all the complaining about bacon in the Cobb salad, there was no bacon for the Cobb salad.
Because the bacon was MIA.
Yeah.
what happened to the bacon?
Well,
Yes.
it's an interesting question, Leanne.
So there were some other
Unclear.
clues. I think all of these detective novels that I'm reading are paying off.
Yeah, the B is for bacon.
Right.
And there was S's for Sprite because there was a pool of clear liquid
Oh,
laying where I was like, that's weird because it wasn't there before. And then when we went to make the Shirley Temples, Kathy said, Kirsten, look at the Sprite. And I was thinking, what did Leanne get us wine coolers instead? Like
Right?
what's the problem? It's Sprite. And she's like, no, look, somebody got into one of the Sprites and drank it. Thus the pool of Sprite all
Or
over.
spilt it and didn't actually
Spilt
drink
it
it because it
and
was,
didn't-
yeah.
It was all very
It's
unclear.
very strange. So bacon is missing. One of the Sprites is opened and consumed,
Yes.
maybe?
slash spilled,
Yes.
slash peed out. Who knows?
Unclear.
It's all very unclear. Yes.
So what happened?
All within 30 minutes of Kirsten putting the stuff in the refrigerator,
Right.
by
Yeah.
the way.
Right.
This was like in like barely 30 minutes
Oh, yeah.
that we went back for
Yeah.
this stuff, which
So-
is in the room next to the room that we are currently in
Right.
is the refrigerator.
Yeah.
So we're in like we have our meetings in like a meeting hall, and that meeting hall is used for other purposes throughout the day. It's used for AA meetings. It's used for all kinds of like group therapy type stuff and Girl Scout meetings. So
And there's a communal kitchen area. So it's not in our room proper. So
several other rooms have access to this room, but no one else was in any of the other rooms, right? All the other rooms
No,
were
the
empty?
building was empty.
Except
For one gentleman who it's very unclear. There was a gentleman who showed up apparently when Kirsten was putting stuff in the fridge
at
At
4
4
p.m. at like
o'clock.
10 to 4.
Yeah. Looking for his 7 p.m. meeting.
Yeah. And I went, well,
B is for bacon, starting to make sense.
Yes.
yeah.
And did he hover around?
Yes. So it was, yes. Once we discovered missing food, I went looking for this particular gentleman. I don't really know what the hell I was going to do. Ask him for the bacon back. I'm
Could
not
you regurgitate that bacon,
confront
please?
him about the bacon.
what was going to happen. But he wasn't there. However, he showed up again and was sitting in the lobby. He was just around a lot.
Yes.
So
there
it
was a lot of
us
lurking.
and this gentleman in the building.
How old
that
was
was
this
it.
gentleman?
30s?
Early 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Did he appear to be somewhat homeless?
Not I mean, I
necessarily
wouldn't necessarily
homeless,
say that,
but
but
not necessarily.
there was definitely something
not.
off
He was out
about
of
him.
place.
I mean, he was lurking. He kept repeating, "I'm here for my 7:00 meeting. I'm here for my 7:00 meeting."
He had
It's
a couple of
like
cooler bags on him,
Mhm.
like
And a
lunch
backpack.
bags and
Yep.
a backpack. So he did seem to be sort of mobile.
Yeah. And then, like, once we finished, we were concerned a little bit that the girls just left because that's what they always do. They just
Yeah.
walk out to their parents. Well, I got nervous that there's this weird gentleman. So I walk out. Kirsten walks out with a bunch of stuff to go to her car. And then, but there's a lot of stuff still left in the room.
Right.
And we're gone for maybe 5 minutes in the parking lot, making sure girls are where they're supposed to be, whatever. And by the time I get back 5 minutes later, he's back in our room.
Wow.
Like he was
Oh, and he,
washing his like
yeah.
travel mug, but it was like clear that we were not done.
Right.
Like it was very,
Yeah.
very sketchy.
And then when I went back after you, like
Mhm.
a couple minutes later, like all the doors were closed to our room. Like, is it, you're done here. And
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very strange. And he kept, like, I was chatting with him because he was washing this mug and that's where the food was. So I was trying to take care of it. And he just kept repeating, like, I'm here for this 7:00 meeting. And I'm like, it's 5:30, you know? And then finally we're talking in the parking lot after we leave the room. And then he leaves the building and leaves the premises.
Wow.
Like, it's not like he waited until 7. I don't know. The whole thing was super sketchy.
Sounds really sketchy.
It was
yeah. And he asked
very
me
uncomfortable.
repeatedly about the meeting. Is this the A meeting? And I was thinking, like, these are 11 to 13-year-old girls. Like,
Yes, it is. This is the AA meeting.
Like, this is
You
definitely
hit the
the
jackpot,
place you want to
buddy.
be.
It's also Molesters Anonymous. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
yeah.
Well, maybe
It
we
was
should
weird.
reconsider teaching the girls how to sharpen their pocket knives at the next
Oh my
meeting
God,
instead of
totally.
waiting for the camping trip. Here's how you make a
Here's
shank.
a shank. Yeah.
Right? You take a plastic fork and
When we were doing the Shirley Temples, though, I pulled out the grenadine and I said, girls,
oh God.
this is serious. Like, this, you can't mess around with this. And they were like,
This is serious. This is nuclear waste in a bottle.
they
Pretty
were
much.
like
That we're going
wide-eyed,
to let
like,
you have.
what's going to happen? I said, you can, do a small splash, but you don't want more than that. It's serious. This is like,
This is serious.
A little goes a long
Yeah.
way.
and then meanwhile, the cut to,
A quarter cup.
like, most of them were very, very, they were like,
Right. Some of them
tiny
were like,
splash.
right,
Like, is this enough?
measuring
And
it
we're
in
like,
the cover.
no.
Yeah.
Like it was, it
Yeah.
was very, Vivian was measuring in the
Oh
cover.
yeah, like they'd use like the lid,
The little cap.
the
Yeah.
little cap, and it was like literally,
It was like a quarter of a teaspoon.
Oh my
We were
God.
like, no,
A little more than
you
that.
can have a
You
little
can
more
have a
than
little,
that.
yeah.
Go
But-
crazy.
yes.
You can go crazy. However,
But somebody
even
went
have
glug,
two
glug, glug,
cherries.
glug, glug,
I know.
glug, glug,
Oh my
glug,
God.
and then later
And then
vomited.
particularly like that girl had like her teeth were bright red.
oh my
Like,
God.
They were bright red. And I was like, oh my
Oh,
God, did she
yeah.
have any spray with that
Oh my
grenadine? Yes,
God.
I'm a little concerned.
Yes.
And going home, I was like, oh, I wonder if she is going to get sick.
and she did.
The answer is yes.
Answer is yes. Oh my God. I
Sorry.
can't believe that she threw
I
up.
can't believe she threw up either.
So clearly I can't leave for a Girl Scout meeting because some lurky guy
Exactly.
comes in and steals bacon and you guys overdose the kids with grenadine.
Totally.
funny.
We need you. What can we say?
Oh, toss.
Yeah.
I knew I was super important, but no, that's really funny. That's
Yes,
really funny.
It was, I feel terrible.
Well, part of Girl Scouts is they're supposed to be independent and have a little self-control, right? Follow directions. So
Apparently, we need to
maybe
teach self-control.
where the this is serious stuff is concerned, she has some management issues, maybe.
We need like the skull and crossbones sticker to put on the grenadine.
Well,
Oh,
that
that's
same
funny.
young lady has been to parties at my house and had to leave early for the mass consumption of Rolos and went home and threw up Rolos.
Oh, so wait a minute.
Aw.
What?
You are not the deciding factor.
Well, I'm not the deciding factor. No,
you're.
No.
Yeah,
So
maybe,
clearly
maybe
you could
needed
guard the
me there
bacon.
to
I could
police
guard the
that.
bacon. I could have
Right.
taken care of the homeless man.
I should have been there to guard the Rolos.
The Rolos was, I mean, I kept watching the bowl go down and down and down. I kept saying, who's eating all these Rolos? And they kept telling me who. And I thought, should I take the bowl away? I mean, at a certain point, don't you get like sick of them?
Don't you not want? Ugh.
I mean, I think she probably ate, I'm not kidding, like 20 or 30.
Oh God.
And I thought,
No
she's
wonder
going
she
to
threw
stop,
up.
Uh-huh.
right? She's going to, I mean, everybody at this age, at 11, you know that makes you sick, right? I mean, when Lily came over and threw up in my backyard because she'd eaten too many hot dogs, she was like 7. And then you go, okay, well, then you understand you don't know your
Lesson
limits.
learned, honey.
But she's never done that again, so I'm
No, she
hoping
hasn't.
she learned her lesson. I'll never forget bringing Lily home and she was eating and eating and eating. And
After the softball party.
it was
remember?
after the softball party, and I think I said, that's a lot of food or something. And then she and Isla were running around the backyard, and all of a sudden Lily just went, bleh. I was like, oh my God. That was too much for your little skinny frame. Oh, and another girl
Stupid.
at Isla's birthday party. We had a big kahuna wave in the front yard, and I had a candy bar where it was like all this candy and Hawaiian punch. I mean, could you have anything more sugary than Hawaiian punch? And this one little girl just kept going back to the candy and eating and then going up down the slide. But her mom's here. So I'm like, well, clearly her mom will regulate her. You know, it's not my job to regulate someone else's kid. Shoving candy up and down the slide, shoving candy up and down the slide, down, bleh, Hawaiian punch everywhere, all over the front yard.
Oh.
So some kids may have a little hard time with that. That's really funny. I wish I'd been there for that meeting. It was exciting.
Oh boy.
It was fun, though.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I mean, despite lurking man.
Lurking
Yes.
man, missing bacon.
But that's the adventure. It's like the adventuring
Yeah.
that they want.
It is.
It's like,
I'd prefer not to have that kind of adventuring.
I'm telling
Death
you.
hikes I'm good
Yes.
with. But that kind of adventuring I could do with that.
We got to build your own shank. I think that's our next badge. Build your own shank. How to use pepper spray. How about that?
we can include that with the whittling, like
Totally.
whittling and
And if you're going to cut them, be serious.
Yeah.
Don't
Right.
go
This
halfway.
is serious. You
Because
got to go all the way.
You gotta go all the way. Put your whole body into it. Your whole back thrust. If you go a little bit, it just hurts, and then they're gonna go after you. You gotta really put your back into it. Maybe we should do that.
We're definitely getting fired for this.
No, please fire me. That'd be awesome. Anyway,
Oh,
that's not the
boy.
purpose of this podcast, right? That we are wrapping up Sober Momtober. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. I have a ton of emails to read too,
Great.
which was really great. I think Sober October has been really really inspirational for a lot of people. I know when I'm seeing people walking around with Bert, when I was selling merch at his show, so many people came up, I can't wait for Sober October. And the wives even, I can't wait for Sober October because my husband is sober for that month. And it's so nice, and we all take a break and reset. So I think we, intentionally or not, rode on the heels of that. And I got a lot of the same messages. I'm so glad that you guys talked about this. This was the kick in the ass I needed. Thank you so much for these ideas. Some people who are already organized said, you know what, I'm going to tweak based on what you said. It was really cool to get a lot of response like that. So how did it go for you guys? Kathy doesn't want to talk.
I feel like I failed miserably. Like I had a really hard time, and I don't know why.
Well, what
Like,
did you have a hard time
I feel
with?
like I don't know. Maybe I was too cocky going into this because I was like, because all of this stuff I had done before and it worked really well,
Okay.
and it just did not work. And I don't know if it was because of this month was so discombobulated in so many ways that I just couldn't wrangle everything.
Mhm.
Or I don't know, I'm just a mess, which may in fact be true.
Could be a hybrid. Could be a hybrid.
Could
of
be,
both.
possibly.
No,
I don't know. Like, would November be any different? Not really sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, can I blame it on the fact that everything was out of sync? I don't know.
Well, give me more specifics. What specifically
okay,
did
so
you try that didn't
specifically,
work?
With the whole meal planning thing, which I loved.
Yeah, this was your game.
I know. And it worked brilliantly. And what I had always done in the past is I sat down and did the entire month.
Yeah,
And it was brilliant.
yeah.
if you look at my calendar, there's not one day that is like exact like how I planned it. It like none of it worked.
Why?
And in the past, it has been like, oh, okay, so I'll switch this day and that day during the week or whatever. And that happened almost every single week.
Wow.
And I had different things. Like I don't know. Like things just came up that I wasn't anticipating or whatever. And it did not work as well. And I was like, okay, so maybe I need to not do the entire month in advance. Maybe I just need to like cut it back and do once a week.
Right.
But, I'm fairly stubborn. And I was like, this worked before. It should work again.
Right.
Damn it. So I don't know. I struggled a lot with that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Anything else specific? What
which is
else
a
were you
bummer.
trying to put in place that didn't work?
Well, the other thing that we talked about putting in place was, these whole days of the week.
Yeah.
Like this day of the week is for this and this is for this and whatever. And I had a version of that before and it worked pretty well. And I don't know why it stopped. It just did. But it did. I couldn't make it happen this time. Like literally every single week, one of the days had to be switched.
Right.
For something outside of my control. And I think that was one of my big troubles. Like there was a presenter at school that was talking about like giving a parent presentation about digital media, raising kids in a digital media world or whatever, something I really wanted to go to. But of course it fell on my work day. So of course I had to switch those 2 days. But then like the following week, something else happened and I had to switch another 2 days. And then I had to switch, like there was not one consistent week where it stayed consistent. And I know how we had talked about how like you have to be so rigid, but I'm like, I can't, this is speaker. Like I can't change that. Like I have to be flexible.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you how I dealt with that because I was also frustrated by that in the beginning. I thought, I'm looking at the month and like, I'm always going to have to flip flop and my mind couldn't really wrap around it. But what I decided to do was to just hang on to some of it. Like instead of labeling all of the days in the week, I was like, okay, Monday as errand day really works. Like errand/shopping. So like anything out of the house. It doesn't mean that I didn't also go to the grocery store later in the week to get fresh produce and stuff like that. But that was the day. And so I never went to Target or Costco or any of the places on another day other than Monday. And that really, and I was like, okay, that's the one that's important to me. That's the one that I'm going to keep. And so that I'm not racing around all week long. And I told my family about it. If you need a Target run or something, it's going to happen on a Monday. So if you tell me on a Tuesday, it will happen next Monday. But I realized that it just wasn't going to work for me to have all of the days labeled because I was like, looking at my month and going, okay, well, the health and wellness day doesn't ever work because of the way things work out. My doctor's appointments are on all these different days and the kids' doctor's appointments. And, but it really helped just having that one day locked down. So
I had the same experience too. I was an epic fail in the days being specific. I think what's happened for me is I have figured out that Bert's usually either not home or not up and present till about midday Monday. And that Monday errand day was a home run for me. I did it every week and it really relieved a lot of stress for me for that week. And unlike saying, if you don't hit me on Monday, we don't go to the next Monday, I would go, then it has to come from Amazon. You have to hit it. If you need it, then it's going to be 2 days and it's going to be Amazon, but I'll go get it on Monday. And I did that with everything is Amazon, Instacart, Costco. If there was something I needed right away, I just had to order it online. That was my parameter. I'll go get it Monday. And if it doesn't got Monday, it's ordered. And then that way it's not on my list and nagging at me. But that was the only day I was able to keep consistent because I figured out, or during the month of October, I basically worked for Bert sun up to sundown, Tuesday and Wednesday, every single week, like to the point where I had to move my therapy. I was like, I'm consistently canceling or rescheduling my therapy now for months. And it never occurred to me until we did this organization that I am working for Bert from like 8 a.m. or so until I start cooking dinner. And sometimes later, sometimes Halston comes over on Tuesday at 8 o'clock and we're still doing reads. Like those 2 days are just out for me. They're like not an option to do anything unless it's something really urgent or, So that was really good for me to figure out so that I know for sure that schedule that we set up won't work for me. I need those 2 days need to be Bert Inc. days entirely until things start slowing down. But Monday, errand day worked awesome. Then I pushed everything to Thursday, Friday, which makes it really hectic, but I can get it done. Because I was trying to get things done on Tuesday. I had assigned for Tuesday, and then I get really stressed out because I had no time to do that on Tuesday. I mean, like no time. Like wasn't eating. We were going like meeting all the time. So
that's so funny that you say that because it was week 2 where I was like, this is stressing me out beyond belief. Like I had this whole, my errand, I was supposed to go to Michael's, and there's, in theory, there's a Michael's between my house and school. It is so not on any route that I would ever try. Like it's so out of the way.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out how am I going to do this? And I was stressing about it. And then it occurred to me, like, I have to bring the dog to the groomer on Wednesday. There's a freaking Michael's across the street from the dog groomer.
Right.
I'm like, oh, but it's on the wrong day. And I literally thought about not going. And I was like,
Right.
this is fucking stupid. Are you kidding me? Like I'm stressing myself out. When the reality is like, I don't care if it's the errand day or appointment day. Like they're literally next door. My life is significantly easier if I do things in a geographical, because then I was like, oh, I also have to go to the church for Girl Scouts. And that is nearby. Yeah. And that's on a different day. You know what I mean? So I'm like shoving 3 days, but they're all within this 1.5 mile radius. And I got 9 things accomplished in the 3 hours the dog was at the groomers that were on 4 different days. And I was like, I have to function that way. Yeah. Like it only makes sense. Like I was far more successful in that one day than trying to spread it out. But I literally was stressed about it. And I thought about it and I tried to figure out how to put this errand on the right day. And I was like, I can't do this. Right. I have to.
Right. It didn't work.
Abandon ship.
I think that actually like a lot of what worked this month for me was sort of like, it's just like a reframing of you. Like I felt the same way where I was like, oh, I'm destined to fail in all areas. But then like flipping it around, it was like, it was a month of like really getting to know how I spend my time. And so, really like, I even like down to like, how long does it really take me to get to school? Cause we're always like, oh, it takes like 15, 20 minutes to get to Vivian's school. Well, actually, I started doing the math and realizing how much time I was actually in the car because, not thinking about the carpool line and how it takes a little time to get through there. And it takes a little time, it takes a different amount of time in the afternoon than it takes in the morning and blah, 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 all this stuff. And then I started like crunching numbers about how many hours is she actually in school versus like, when do I land at home after dropping her off? When do I have to leave in the afternoon? What is it on short days? And like sort of really getting to know like what time do I have to work with? Right. And then
because it's not 8 to 3.
No, absolutely.
Because
exactly.
It is, right. Yeah.
It's 9 to 2, maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. That's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
Into 2:20, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then when I looked at that, I was like, oh, I'm actually accomplishing a lot in those few hours because I was like, the time had expanded in my mind, thinking about the entire time that my husband's gone to work or something, thinking, wow, I
can't get anything done.
I can't get anything done. Yeah.
Right.
And when really it's like, oh no, but I'm doing all this stuff at home before we even get to school and then the time that it takes. And so in the end, I felt like it was actually a really successful month because I got a better grasp of things. I didn't get more done, like the stuff, the career stuff.
Oh, I got none of that.
It completely fell to the wayside. Yeah. But it was also, I mean, we have to all admit, it was a crazy month.
Yes.
I mean, there were fire days. Our kids were home from school for fire days.
There was not one week in October that my kids went to school for 5 days.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I was like,
that throws
That's
things
crazy.
off.
And then this week was short day. You guys have, I'm sure you have it in a different week, but like short days for conferences every single day.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, there's only like a 4-hour, a 4-hour block. And it was like, you know what? I got a lot accomplished for having only 4 hours.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, I think what helped me is that realizing the Bird Inc., how much I work for Bird Inc. and that errand day were really important. So I think what I'm going to do as far as my schedule is moving forward, this may help you with what you're talking about too, Kathy, is what I used to do before we started this was I sat down on Sunday and looked at my week and really sat down, had a cup of coffee, and I looked at it and really was very conscious of what was going on in that week. So that, like you said, I'm stressing out because I can't get to Michael's because it's not on the right day. But if you were to sit down and look at your calendar and go, oh, I'm going to the groomer here, I go to Michael's, I go to, and I was putting it on my calendar.
That's actually what I did. Before, I was looking like for one day ahead. So looking for a week ahead actually helped me a lot.
Me too, yeah.
I struggle with Sunday. I want to do it on Sunday. My family is not super conducive to that. I feel like, I don't know.
But don't you get up at the crack of dawn and they sleep?
Yeah.
Do it when you wake up in the morning. That's what I do.
Generally bake.
You bake?
Yes.
Well, for 15 minutes before you bake.
I guess that's true. I could do it in the morning. I feel there's a lot of neediness on Sundays from my family.
Yeah.
Maybe just my husband. There's not a whole lot of downtime. So I really struggle with I need 20 minutes of uninterrupted time. And I feel like I don't get that on Sunday for some reason.
Well,
and
why not? Maybe that's what you need to change.
Maybe that is what I need to change. Is just be like, listen, I need my 20 minutes.
I need a cup of coffee.
But that has been the hardest part is I feel like I don't get that until Monday. And then the
week's already started.
Yeah. And
well, I was doing that too on Monday morning and I thought it's too late. It's too late. Yeah. I need this on Sunday morning. And that's what I do. I get up and make myself a cappuccino because I usually drink coffee in the week, and I make myself a nice cappuccino. And when the weather was nice, I would sit outside in the backyard with my computer and I would look at my week and figure and conceptualize my week and understand where am I busy and where am I not busy. I didn't have the meal planning in place at that time, which was causing me a lot of stress. But I think going forward, that's what I'm going to do because we're coming up on Bert's week slowing down just a little bit in certain ways, or our busy in December is going to shift to more like a 9 to 5 days a week busy, as opposed to those concentrated days. So I think the rigidity of the day being assigned, that ship may have sailed also, except the errand day. That errand day was a killer. Yeah, that was such a home run for me. Me too. And the meal planning. But that Sunday, sit down and really look at your week helped me a lot. And, I think I've said this before, but Isla has always felt very overwhelmed by her after school stuff. And one day I said, how can I help you feel not so overwhelmed? She said, I think it would help me if I could see my calendar and see how much open time I have. So on Sunday morning, I print out her calendar, and I've started printing out our whole family's calendar and then my calendar. So for some reason, I see it differently on a piece of paper than I see it on a computer screen. Yep. Like my brain doesn't process it the same way. Too. It's more permanent when I see it on a piece of paper.
Write it out each time.
You do?
So do I.
Because it helps me. I don't know, the actual aspect of writing it out somehow helps it stick in my brain a little bit more.
I think it probably does me too, but I think I just have too many. I can't do that. Yeah, I look at my schedule and I go, there are 15 things on Tuesday, literally. So, but that helps me to just see mine and then to see our whole family. And then I give one to Isla. George doesn't care about it. She doesn't want one. So, I don't know. Maybe that would be something you should do for yourself anyway.
But a devil's advocate thing, if you really find that Sundays are just a runaway train and too hard, maybe Monday morning after dropping the kids, you could block off some time of just like Kathy downtime /
well, the reality is I do get up super early. So I could do it first thing Monday morning, like before I do anything else. Go. You know what I mean? I end up feeling guilty if on Sundays. I don't know.
But you get up, you are a lark. You are a morning lark.
100%.
Very early. So, but your family doesn't get up that early, do they?
No, my kids definitely do not.
But Stephen doesn't get up that early either, does he?
He tries not to.
No. So that would lead me to believe you have a little bit of time.
I could. Yeah.
And maybe you don't want to on Sunday.
No, you know what? Stephen does not like to get up, but he does not like me to get up. That's the reality. That is our time. The kids aren't up and he wants me to be there. And it doesn't matter that he's sleeping and I'm awake. He wants me to physically be near him. It
Right.
is the bunny and the bear thing. Like
Yeah.
he needs me physically close to him.
Yeah.
So, and if I get up, I feel very guilty. I don't want to say he makes me feel guilty, but
No.
he's definitely not happy. So,
Well, he's
I
expressed a need and you want to
Yes.
fulfill his need. And, then you
he's
feel
never
bad about
home.
that. Yeah,
So
totally.
I try. It kills me, but I like stay in bed until like
What do you do?
I read or
Oh,
I'm on
okay.
my phone or something that like he doesn't really like. He literally sleeps while
Yeah.
I'm there, but
You could
he
leave your
needs to
computer right there and then
physically
go,
be touching me
Yeah.
or nearby. So. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want
It's
to
very
complain. It's not a terrible problem to have. Your husband wants
No.
to be with you, which is great, but
But it locks you into that one
It
spot.
does lock
There's
me
no
in.
getting a cup of coffee and hanging out at the kitchen table and figuring shit out. So, and
No.
you don't want to take your computer into bed and figure shit
no,
out.
because that
while he's
annoys him
sleeping.
because he knows I'm not paying attention. If I'm reading a book, it doesn't really annoy him as much because he doesn't really know
But
about
isn't
it.
he asleep?
Yes.
Okay, Stephen. I may need to talk to Stephen for a minute. If he's
Have
sleeping,
fun.
you should do whatever you want lying next to him.
I know.
You could juggle.
but
He wouldn't know. He'd be asleep in theory. Right?
Yeah, in theory. But
What a funny guy.
anyway, yes.
You're on your computer?
That is one of our weird dynamic. Yes, it's very strange.
What are you doing on your
Anyway.
computer?
But the reality is, I am
Right.
up at 5 on Monday morning, so
Okay.
there's no reason, and I don't have to wake Lily until 6:30.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
I mean, I do other stuff in the morning,
Of
but
course.
I could easily fit that in. I
Right.
think
Give it a shot.
that may not be such a bad idea because it really helps when I do an entire week instead of just the day. I
Right.
feel like I'm on a hamster wheel when I was doing just, okay,
Right.
what do I have to do tomorrow? What do I have to do tomorrow?
Yeah, definitely.
And things were definitely falling through the cracks. So the wider view definitely helps.
Yeah.
Can't be wider than a week though.
Right.
At least not for me. I think that would be a disaster. But,
Right. I think the week's good for me. Now,
Mhm.
meal planning.
Mhm.
Brilliant. I loved it.
How closely did you stick to your month?
Very.
Wow.
However, I did have only one day where I had to switch days, but I switched them and I had the ingredients.
Wow.
Right.
What helped me was, when I set up my month, I got a cup of coffee and I hunkered down
Mhm.
and I thought, okay, I'm going to put all of this on my calendar. I'm going to figure out every meal for every week and put it on my calendar. And then I'm going to either print the recipe or have the like ingredient list already right here on the side. So when it came to the time for me to make my grocery list for the week, I had my recipe and I could just boom, boom, boom. I need chuck roast, I need onion, I need carrots, and just put it on my grocery list. I use Amazon Alexa for my groceries. For my grocery list.
Yeah, me too.
and I just tell her what I need, which makes it really easy. And then it's on my phone. But I also did something that I didn't really know was helpful until I was using it. On my Wednesday softball crockpot nights, I would write on the calendar the time I needed the ingredients in the crockpot.
That's
Mhm.
smart.
Yeah.
That's
So,
really smart.
that is
Like
smart.
11 a.m.,
Yeah.
the pot roast had to go in at 11 a.m. But the week before, I did like a chicken curry that needed to go in at 2:30. So that way I didn't go, well, I know it's crockpot day, but well, what time do I start that crockpot? And I needed to make sure, because on Wednesdays at the time I had therapy at 1, so I couldn't have a meal that started at 1 because between 1 and 2 I wouldn't be there. But that was really helpful too. So I made a new color on our calendar because everything is color coded. You know, I'm blue, Bert's red, Isla's orange, George's yellow, and our family is green. So in the green, I wrote the meal of the night. This is a Blue Apron. This is Taco Tuesday, and this week we're having Aunt Carol's enchiladas and a salad. I mean, I did sides and everything.
Wow.
This was a full menu. And then I did the full menu at the time of day we were going to eat dinner on each day, except for the crock pot day when I put it in when I had to cook it. So then everybody knew what we were eating. Everybody has access digitally to that calendar. I ate leftovers on the weekends, or we ate out. Those was my kind of free days when I don't really cook. You want lunch? Fridge full of leftovers. Go for it. You make a sandwich. It's up to you. That was amazing. And I did it all the way through this weekend. So I had a full week. So this weekend, I'm going to sit down and do it for November.
Mhm.
I could not believe how much stress it relieved for me because I got it all handled on Monday. Now, there are a couple of items I needed to buy later in the week, but it was so easy to just run by, pick up the scallions and parsley or whatever I needed and just go home. I was in and out of the grocery store in 5 minutes.
It really took a load off to go, like, because in the beginning of the month, I was like, oh, wait a minute, it's Thursday and we're all out of broccoli.
Yeah.
And great, this is my errand day. And I was, and started trudging to the store. And then I was like, oh, it's really easy when you're just getting a couple of things.
Yes.
It's really
Right.
easy to be in and out.
Right. Hold on one second. I see my dog is out and I don't know where my other dog is.
I was really surprised that the meal planning did not work for me. It always has in the past. And I think in general, it will work. I think this was a very off month.
Special guest.
Hey, Mona.
So I definitely want to continue the meal thing.
You do?
I do, 100%. It worked so brilliantly before. I
Yeah.
really feel like this was an off month. And, it worked. It worked. It was better than before where I was trying to figure out what to make every day.
Right.
Like I said, it was an off month, but
Yeah.
I feel like that's super valuable.
Yeah, I'm going to do it again. I'm somewhere in between the two of you. It wasn't magic and it wasn't a disaster,
Mhm.
but it helped more than it. I mean, the problem was for me that by the end of the month or like halfway through the month, it was like, oh, why would I plug this in again after 2 weeks? We're bored already of this. So
Oh.
it was like in my mind
Oh.
before I was imagining my family being the boredom police.
Ah.
And then it was me. It was like, oh, we can't do
So
this
you
again.
repeated recipes within the month?
Yeah.
I didn't do that. I did
didn't
all
either.
unique recipes.
I did that whole recipe dump beforehand and then just chose from that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Is she bothering you, Kathy?
no, not at all. I'm trying to figure out if she's going to fall or not.
If you move that pillow, just toss it on the floor. She'll sit down. She's we're having dog dominance issues in my house, and I want to make sure she's okay because Priscilla's as confused as to who's the boss, and I don't want anything to happen while I'm in here. So Mona's going to sit in here. She'll be our fourth guest. So you repeated meals throughout your month, and that made
Yeah.
you feel bored.
Yeah. I repeated a couple of, I mean, yeah.
Well, I did do this. This is one thing that I think helped, and I planned this in. Tuesday's a throwaway meal for me. If Bert wanted to cook something else, go for it because Bert loves to cook, and he loves to be in ultimate control of what's being cooked. He wants to buy it. He wants to cook it. Fine. Throw me in the briar patch. Make me do that. But that was usually I set that for Tuesday because then he could do that. And who cares if I don't make taco? I throw the hamburger meat in the freezer. It's not a big deal. So I did have that day as kind of like I am prepared, but I'm also willing to just throw it out. And the crock-pot meals, I thought Bert would be like, oh, no, seriously? He loved them. He was like, I'm so glad it's just handled, that we just open the lid and eat. So that was really great. I loved that. Any other comments about meal planning, ladies?
So funny. I didn't do one crock pot thing at all.
Oh, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
The putting it on the calendar when it needs to go in the
Yeah.
crock pot was the key. Because I'd planned crock pot meals before, and then at 3:00
And then
I'd
you
go,
would forget.
oh shit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was supposed to put that in the crock pot. Now I got to figure out
Now
something
this-
else to cook.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that was the key.
That's really smart because
Yeah, that
I
is
have
smart
on my
because-
list, like, put food in crock pot and I'll put it like on the list somewhere in the middle of the day. But sometimes your day gets away from you and you haven't accomplished steps 1 through 5
Yeah.
that reach
Uh-huh.
that point, and then all of a sudden it's the afternoon and I'm like, that was supposed to be that's what I got to do. And like I think for me, set a reminder
I was going
to
to say
go
put a
off
timer
at the
on.
yeah.
Yeah. To say, here you go, right in here. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was key.
I'd probably put that into my phone. And
Yeah, that's smart.
I'm going to just continue to have that one hunker down day and do the whole month and put it all on my calendar. And then,
yeah, me too.
because then it was I have one folder that had any recipes that I had to print out. Like I wanted to try this crock pot, pot roast recipe. And I just printed it out and put it in this one folder. So I knew where that was. I didn't have to go looking for it. It was not in my recipe book that I had to flip through. It was in this, like, this is what's going on this week.
Mhm.
Here it is. And so I could just go. I put the all 4 crockpot recipes in that folder. I don't know. It worked really well. That one worked really well for me. Any other comments? You were looking at your notes.
I don't have any more about
Food.
meal planning. The only thing that I wanted to say is that I got some messages on Instagram about saying, why aren't you using an Instant Pot? A lot of people brought up the Instant Pot.
I'm frustrated with the Instapot. Are you guys, either of you, familiar with the Instapot?
I don't have one.
I don't have
do.
one.
I feel like it's one of those gadgets that's great for a minute and a half, and then it just takes up space.
That has
So
been
I-
my experience.
Yeah. So it's been life changing
one.
for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
some
don't
people
get
just
it.
swear, yeah, I don't get it either. And I kind of feel like, well, I already have a crock pot. And
It's kind of what I
okay.
think. I was like, is it really that different than a crock pot?
But
I
so
don't
what they
have
were
one,
saying
so-
is that it's like it does what the crock pot does, but like in an hour. So if you forget, if you don't plug in the time that you're supposed to throw the crock pot on, then it's like 5 o'clock and you don't have dinner, or 6 o'clock, then you throw it all in and it pops
I think
out
that's accurate.
in an hour.
But
Okay.
here's what confuses me about the Instapot. There are probably 15 settings on that motherfucker. And I go, am I steaming, or am I slow cooking, or am I
Oh.
pressure cooking,
Oy.
or am I browning? I don't know what I'm doing. And like, I don't know which one to push, and I don't know what to put in here with what, because supposedly you're supposed to be able to put like rice, vegetables, protein, push a button, it cooks. But I have not figured out that formula. And I was like, I don't have time to figure out how to use this gadget.
Yeah, you know
Right.
what? That would be, like the old Avon parties,
Yeah.
or whatever. Like if somebody was doing an Instapot party and they'd sell you that, but they'd also walk you through the entire thing, I would go to that party and I would buy it. But yeah, I'm with you. When I looked at them in Target, I was like, I don't know, what buttons do you push? What do you like? How would
Right.
Do
Well,
I
there's
need to learn all new like meals? I don't know.
No, either. There's a lot of
Right.
steps, like the recipes that I pulled out that were like, this ain't so Insta. You turn the thing on, saute, and you put the meat in there, and you brown it, and you brown it, and you brown it, and you take the meat out, and then you put the vegetable in, and you saute it, and you saute, and you take that out, and then you put that. And I was like, there's 18 steps to instant. This is not instant. This is the opposite of instant. This is, I'm confused,
and it's
and
just
now
like
I'm
cooking
upset.
on your stove.
It's like exactly like cooking on your stove. And I thought, I'm so short. When the Instapot is on my counter, I need a stool to reach in the thing to be able to saute something. So I'm just going to saute it on my stove. And now I've created 14 dirty plates to put everything in an Instapot to push go for 1 hour. That was my walk away. Now, so to speak to what you're saying about Avon, I did buy this rice cooker on QVC because of the demonstrations, because they showed me how to use it. Here's how you make this. Here's how you make soup. Here's how you make rice. Here's how you make a
Wait
dip.
a minute. Do you do soup in your rice cooker? Because
It's a 1-person rice cooker. It's tiny. So like my kids drink soup in the morning. So you can make like a single serving mac and cheese from scratch.
Okay.
So I got it for making lunch boxes predominantly. It's a tiny rice cooker, but I watched them make homemade mac and cheese, everything raw, dump it in, turn it on, and it turns off when it's done.
So to hang back
Mona's here as long as I have Mona.
for the walk.
No, she can walk.
Okay, and then her and the little dog.
Sure. Thank you. Sorry, dog walker. So I bought that rice cooker because I saw how they used it. And it was super. And she made like 3 different versions of rice. And I put rice in my girl's lunchbox all the time. And I can make one. It's actually a 2-person serving. So I make 1 batch and I have 2 lunchboxes done. And I bought that thing. I use that thing all the time because I saw how they were using it. They don't.
Right.
to
Like
my-
you don't have to figure it out. You don't have to sit down and read the manual
No.
and figure out how to do it on your own.
No, it was super easy. She was like, it's a 1 to 1.5 ratio, whatever you cook. 1 pasta to 1.5 water, 1 pasta to 1.5 rice, 1 pasta to 1.5 soup or whatever. And I was like, I can remember that. I can do that. Now that's an Instapot. Boom, boom, boom. I turn it on and it literally turns off as soon as it's cooked. You don't even have to watch it.
Yeah. I love my rice cooker, but I just use it for rice.
You can make all kinds of stuff in a rice cooker. You make soup. Ask Sandy about a rice cooker. They lived in Puerto Rico with nothing but a rice cooker. She cooked everything they did in a rice cooker. You can do a lot with those things, but yeah, that Instapot, I may need an education. They don't sell them on QVC. So I haven't had a demonstration. Or if they have, I haven't caught that episode. By the way, to segue a little bit, I shop at QVC. I shop there quite a bit. I don't buy much, but I watch because of the demonstration stuff, right? So Isla uses dry shampoo. She's very oily skin and subsequently very oily hair. And so literally she'll wash her hair and by afternoon the next day, it'll be oily. So the dry shampoo really helps her, it dries up that oil. But she uses this stuff that smells horrible. So I'm flipping on QVC and I find this 4-pack of dry shampoo from Philosophy that has these great scents. And I asked her, would you be interested in that? Because I hate the way your dry shampoo smells. And she went, oh my God, I hate it too. Yes, I'd totally be interested in that. So I ordered it, but it went to our business manager's office because that's my billing address. And I went to pick it up and the lady in the office went, oh, QVC? And I went, yeah, I actually shop at QVC all the time because you'll pay the same price for something, but it'll be more quantity. So if you buy a 24-ounce bottle of shampoo at Nordstrom, you get a 36-ounce bottle for the same price. So why wouldn't you just do that? And she went, I got to go back to the front. And just left. I was like, wow, I didn't know QVC was so offensive. I think it's amazing. It's like a deal of the century for the stuff that you actually, 90% of the stuff on there, I go, yeah, I don't know if I'd ever see a human wearing that, but okay. But for stuff like that in the rice cooker, it's pretty awesome. Anyway, my QVC rant. So did anybody try compartmentalizing their email or texting or anything like that?
I did not.
I was gung ho to set that up on September 30th.
Yeah.
And then I got an email from my boss. So my job is I call it seasonal.
Yes.
Just because I edit a book that is published twice a year. And so my busy time is October through December. And then there's a second one in the year. But I had been in this dry. So in September, I wasn't working.
Yeah.
At all. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have what you did, with, the little band saying I only check my email at these times. Mm-hmm. And then my boss emailed me on September 30th. And I was like, oh, I can't do this.
Right.
Because our relationship and the way that we work is she will email me multiple times in a day. And I get back to her right away. And there's a lot of time sensitive stuff. And I realized that that's how I'm the most productive.
Right.
Is just to get it out. As soon as I get an email, send it out. Because if I don't reply to it immediately, even if I've flagged it, even if whatever, it just doesn't happen. And I was like, you know what? This is my fantasy self
right.
is only checking her email certain times a day. But my real life self and what I'm comfortable with is I'm just going to check my email when it comes in.
You can't do that.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, I did it. And it was life-changing. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Because I slipped the end of week 2 and went back to checking my email all day. And I had to stop myself. But I really did that. I tried to check my email right around 8 a.m., right around lunch, and right before I started cooking dinner. And I would sit down and read everything and respond to everything. There was nothing I left for later. And I could not believe how much free time I had. I felt like crickets were singing. And I kept going, wait, I don't have anything right this minute I need to do? Really? So I did get things done. And it was good that I had functioned that way because the first week I wasn't as crazy busy with Burt Inc., and so I was able to kind of see how it would really affect me without that Burt Inc. craziness. And then when the Burt Inc. craziness happened, I was able to say to him, I'm in sober Momtober. And in this month, I am checking my email only 3 times a day. So you have got to let me unplug for half an hour. And I'm just going to check my email. And then I don't even look at my phone the rest of the day. But you got to give me that half hour. And he was able to do it because he went, oh, okay. If she can take care of business, then she can help me take care of my business. It was awesome.
Are you going to keep it going?
100%. Absolutely.
great.
This morning, he said, I need to talk to you about what there's a lot of activity going on outside the podcast room today, but he needed me to focus on that. And I said, that's fine, but I have to prep for this podcast and check my email. You can either talk to me while I'm doing that, or you can let me do that. But I am doing that first, and then I can take care of you. Okay, sort of worked. This morning he was a little bit more anxious than usual because of this that's going on today. And this is going on today was booked like yesterday. So it's not like I purposely put this podcast in the middle of something where he needed me. But yeah, that's worked really well. And it's given me like a relief where I go, everybody sees my signature line. Maybe I should have an automatic reply that says, hey, an auto reply to every email, but I find those annoying.
Yeah.
So I thought to get in the habit, and one of Bert's manager called me and said, did that really work? And I said, it actually really did work for me. And anything anybody needed, they did text me. Like if there was something with Bert's job that needed an answer right away, they did text me. They'd text me and say, I need this right now. Okay. Then I can go in and look at that email to look at the artwork or whatever it is they wanted me to see and deal with it. So then I went, okay, I need to drill down on that one urgent thing. And then I would leave the rest of them totally alone and then go back at my scheduled time and do exactly what I was supposed to do. That was amazing. I am totally keeping that.
That's great.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Because nothing slipped through the cracks.
So I
nothing.
started something that was to try to address that I realized that I had to keep on the emails, but the phone was sort of a problem because I do everything on my phone. I do
Totally.
more, I mean, other than my job, I do everything. Like I send all my emails from my phone. I do everything from it. And but consequently, I'm always on my phone, and I don't want to be that person who's always on my phone and who's just like, picking it up. So I've been using the thing in the settings on the iPhone. It has the screen time thing and just monitoring it.
Right.
Just the first week, I was like just monitoring it, and I was horrified.
Were you?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But in fairness, I listen to podcasts when I'm driving, and I'm driving for minimum 2 hours a day, and that's just driving to school. So that's not counting all the other places. So it was like the podcast. It was like when I'm actually on the phone, the texts, email, Instagram. I'm really into my Instagram, and I'm trying to build my sewing Instagram.
Yeah.
It's like, researching things for Girl Scouts, like, well, the knot tying and watching the knot tying videos. And it's a lot of things. Like the kids' grades for both of their schools are on there, and monitoring of that. So there's a lot that it helped me to also not be as judgy about my phone use. Because I was like, oh, well, a lot of this stuff isn't going to go away. Like, it's good. A lot of it was productive. But there was a lot of it that I was like, oh, do I really need to be on Instagram that much?
Right.
Probably not. So it really helped me decrease that time dramatically.
That's good.
Dramatically. Because when we talked about, I know you were talking about doing Cyber Free Sunday, and I was like, that just doesn't help me as much, because I know that if we go camping, or like if I was, just on a Sunday, it's easy for me to take a day off. But I think my problem is the all day of it all, because it starts literally with my alarm, and I'm picking my phone up to turn my alarm off. And when I pick that up, it's like hit the ground running, and it's literally until I go to bed. So I set like a larger off time at night. I think it's like from 9 o'clock till 6 o'clock. My phone just
Your downtime.
Yeah. Other than calls, I think the phone just basically shuts down. So,
Mine's the same.
Yeah.
Mine's 10 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Yeah.
is off. But I'm not on my phone like that. And when I was doing my email stuff, I tried to do it on my computer because I type so much faster than I text type that I would get really frustrated on my phone. And a lot of the stuff I have to deal with Bert is about artwork, and it's hard to see it on my phone. Like I want to see it on my computer. So I'd get frustrated starting on my phone and go, I got to go find my computer. So instead I just said, this is not my phone. This is my computer. This is my office. I'm treating checking my emails like my job, even though there's all kinds of stuff in my emails that aren't job related. And that helped me too. Because then I must feel the same way. I feel like I want to leave my phone in the kitchen at night and use Alexa for my alarm and just get away from it, because I do the same thing. As soon as I turn the alarm off, before I started this month, I would check my email as soon as I woke up. And then I would check my email again as soon as I got home at 7 from dropping the kids off from school. And then I check my email again. And it just, like you said, as soon as you wake up with this turn off the alarm, I felt tethered to that stupid thing. The email thing helped me break it and helped me realize, well, not realize, but I just shifted stuff to my computer and I found I was more efficient that way. I could just bang stuff out and get it done. And a lot of stuff is like attachments I have to send are on my computer. So then I have to go, well, I'm going to find my computer. Why did I even start out on my phone? This stupid phone. I don't know. That was really helpful. Well, that's cool. That's cool that you realize that. You can't function that way. You can't function, you know.
I also set limits for some of my apps and stuff. You can set limits for them. So I set.
So you don't throw up grenadine at the end of the day?
Exactly. So I'm not like Instagram 24/7. So I set limits, and then you can, if there's like some reason that then it's not like, it's my phone. I'm an adult. So
yeah,
I can use it as much as I want. So, but then if I want to go on, it'll be like, oh, you only have 5 minutes left of Instagram today. It'll remind me that. And I'm like, oh no, this isn't important. I was just picking it up because I'm standing in line waiting for something.
I'm bored,
to check it.
Yeah.
Or if it's like, oh, your time is up for the day. Do you, it gives you like two options of like, well, time's up, and you go, okay, or
give me 15 more minutes.
Yeah. Or there'll be like a 1 minute option, a 15-minute option.
And an all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can say, no, release me for the day.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love that too.
Yeah.
I have those limits for my kids too, for me and my kids. And if they run out of time, they have to ask me for more time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they only have like an hour and a half a day on their phone, and you can't watch a movie in an hour and a half. And I'm like, that's fine. Just ask me, and if we're on like a road trip, last weekend we were on a road trip. We're in the car for 4.5 hours to get to Palm Springs, which usually takes 2 hours. I was like, yeah, you get 4.5 hours if that's what you want. Look out the window a little bit, but watch a movie. Maybe 2. We were in just dead stop and go traffic. And it's so boring.
Yeah, but that's the exception.
It's the exception, not the
So,
rule. But I could do it. It's easy. Let's click. You can have it
Yeah.
for the whole day. Click. And it's done. That's pretty cool. Anything else before I start reading what people emailed?
I don't think so.
No?
No.
Oh, I know. This is something that you brought up that you had heard on a podcast or something when there was, I wrote a list of the challenges that could potentially derail my productivity.
Oh, yeah.
I did that on September 30th, and that was really, really helpful.
That's smart.
It was so helpful. And it also, I feel like it also gave me permission to fail when the kids were off school, as there were a lot of days. There were a lot of days this month.
There were.
And so instead of going like, oh, what am I not accomplishing? It was like, listen, the kids are off school. If I get anything accomplished today,
It's a win.
That's a win. Yeah. But anyway, I listened to this podcast the other day called The Happiness Lab, which I highly recommend.
Oh, okay.
It's based on, I'm going to get it wrong. I think the school is Yale. It's one of the big Ivy League schools. This professor who did a class on happiness, and it became the most popular.
Oh my God, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally know what you're talking about.
So it's the most popular course that they've ever offered at Yale or
And
Yale.
yeah,
Excellent. Thanks, Halston.
and I think you can take it online now too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she also has a podcast now, and it's really great because it's the science of
Right.
happiness. It's not just like, oh, go get a manicure.
Yeah, right?
or whatever. It's
no,
like,
I want to, but I will write that down, somebody.
yeah.
I've heard
text
about
you.
this.
Remember
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Remember for
It's
me.
very good. But the episode that I listened to, the most recent episode, which I really recommend, it gave an example of the difference between like positive self-talk. No, you can do this.
Yeah.
And how like the power of positive thinking is actually the science doesn't back it up. That actually the science backs up the negative, not negative self-talk saying you can't do this.
Yeah.
But visualizing all the things that could go wrong.
So you could troubleshoot.
Yes.
They're talking about this in the book that we're reading too. Under Pressure. There's something very similar to
great.
that, actually.
Ooh, I
So
haven't
they
started
gave
yet.
the
I'm gonna start
example
today.
of Michael Phelps, who I guess during the Beijing Olympics, his goggles fogged up or got water. There was a leak, literally just as the gun went off, and he was blind. So he was swimming blind, and he was freaking out and thinking, oh my God, how am I going to finish this? I can't take my goggles. There are like all these lists of things that you can't do in the Olympics or whatever. And so he had to do this whole race blind. And at the end of the race, he gets out of the water and he has a mini tantrum. And his coach is like, calm down. You just won the gold and you broke the world record.
Wow.
And he did it blind. And what he said was the reason, and so she was asking him, like, how did this happen? Michael Phelps, I guess, always would visual, athletes in general, like visualize their game or their like whatever their sport is, and they're supposed to visualize it going well, and what you do, what does it feel like, all the sensory elements. Well, I guess he got bored over the years of doing all these visualizations since he started when he was like in 5th grade or something. And so he started doing the negative visualizations too, like imagining what would happen if I lost my goggles, what would happen if my goggles cracked. And so in his mind, he visualized all that and was like, okay, well, it's 19 strokes to get to the end and it's 20 strokes to get back. So he's like, so I just counted it out.
Wow.
And it was a world record and
That's crazy.
and Olympic gold. But anyway, it really backed up the science of like figuring out all the ways that you can fail so that you can win.
So you can troubleshoot.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm going to check out that podcast. The Happiness Project?
The Happiness Lab.
The Happiness Lab. Happiness Project is the, what's her name?
It's Happier. Yeah, Happier with Gretchen Rubin.
Oh, God.
Which I also like. But the Happiness Lab it's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me read some stuff people emailed. I asked everybody if I could read them before I read them because I didn't want to read, something without someone's permission, but I didn't get to read everybody's. There were a lot. So these are the ones I pulled. From Virginia Draper. Hi, Leanne. I was just listening to your rock climbing podcast. So this is not really about this one, but sort of it is. And you and Kathy and Kirsten were talking about setting specific deep think goals for the month of October. I'm a kinesiology student at Michigan State University. In many of my classes, we talk about the concept of setting SMART goals. SMART is in all caps. The acronym stands for specific, measurable, achievable / aggressive, relevant, and time sensitive. Oftentimes, the biggest roadblock to success is setting goals that are too vague. For example, I want to get in shape as opposed to I want to increase my cardiorespiratory endurance by running a 5K in under an hour by November 1st. That's really specific. That's more specific and hits the criteria for a SMART goal. There's a bunch of literature about SMART goals online and can be applied to other things, not just physical fitness. Hope this was helpful. Loving the podcast.
That's awesome.
Isn't that
cool,
awesome?
yeah.
I'm going to have to check out the SMART goals. I thought that was really great.
Yeah, helpful for
but-
the kids too.
Exactly.
But that's super specific. It's also super achievable. Like you know exactly what you have to do to get there.
Yeah.
As opposed to I
wanna
need to get in shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you could do 57 different things that may or may not work. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's the problem with our career goals is that we're
Yes.
both pretty nebulous about what it is
Both?
we want.
All three. All
three,
three.
yeah.
What does the end game actually look like?
Yeah.
That's
What
the
do you
problem.
What do you want, and what's achievable? Like I want to have a title, a name for my business by December 1st. That's achievable and very specific.
And right.
Decided and chosen. And then after that, you can go, I would like to have a website with my name or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, that was pretty good. Thank you. We know this lady, Marian Coster.
Oh.
She emailed, hi, Marian. Nice seeing you around school. She
always has
said
great stuff to say.
what she does. Well, she sent a recipe
Oh.
for chicken curry. She said she's been making this for the past 30 years. And I not to bore people with reading the actual recipe,
I
but
want
it
it.
takes her 30 minutes and it looks amazing. And I'm happy to post it online. I'll call it Marian's Chicken Curry.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she said
I'll
she'll
make that.
I know,
I
me
will
too.
too, right?
Put it on the November meal plan.
Exactly. So I'll just post it on let's see, on my episodes tab on wifeoftheparty.com under the episodes. I
Awesome.
think I have a section under there that says more from the episodes or something. It'll be in that section. Okay, organizing tips from Wyatt Dunn. I love hearing from men. It's so fun to hear from men. He says, I wanted to share my tips going into the week from a guy's perspective because I feel it's extremely important for men to keep their shit together. We can be loud, vocal, aggressive, demanding, and when you bring that into your home, it trickles off and disrupts the entire energy in your home. It's all about balance. Isn't that true?
That is great.
Preaching the choir, Wyatt. For me, I have a full-time job. I'm a father, husband, and just started my own company. And I have a love-hate relationship with the stress that comes with it. Everyone makes their own pile of shit. And here's how I don't let that stack up. Waking up early is the big one to start. I get up. Okay, this is where I go. I don't know if I can do this. I get up between 3 and 5.
Oh my God. Wyatt.
And go to the gym. The gym is the first thing. I treat the gym as my workshop of ideas and organization for the day. I also try to find 30 to 45 minutes a few times a week to stretch and just think. Those two things alone helps me manage not only my day and week, but my decision making and life choices. Your diet may be the biggest factor in how you manage stress. Discipline, order, repetition, but don't forget to take a break and have fun. And then he sent another email that said, oh, I'm an idiot. I forgot to mention the most important trick. I take a 20-minute nap every day. It's not even a deep sleep. It's more like being in a trance. We just need our minds to rest and our eyes throughout the day, and 20 minutes is perfect. So that was his two cents. It's pretty good. I don't know if I could get up between 3 and 5, but I like the idea of exercise being a workshop for ideas.
Yeah.
I like that. And he's right. Men do come in very loud and aggressive, and they disrupt the schedule. And how do you manage that? I mean, you can't ask a man to not be a man. Yeah, don't be yourself. Just come in here and stop being yourself. But how do you prepare for that and manage that? That's good. Mm-hmm. Good input. All right, Kristen. Oh, I'm going to destroy your last name. Right? Well, I'm not sure, but Kristen, thank you. She says, I'm ready to do Sober Momtober with you. I'm technically not a mom. I have a dog and a cat. But I think everyone could benefit from getting a little more organized. So I have my meal plan ready, my workout plan printed, and a notebook to make my daily to-do list. I'm better at getting things done if I work off a list. For food ideas, I've been using Pinterest. Just a suggestion so your girls get involved. Find a recipe that they would want to try and try a new recipe maybe every other week. And she offered a link to an egg roll paleo recipe that I can post also. But she printed a picture of her supplies. She has her notebook and her calendar and her meal planning. So she was all ready to go. But I did do that with my kids over the summer where they were in charge of one meal a week and they got really into, shopping, cooking and the whole thing. But it kind of fell apart when school started. I mean, it's really hard for my family to implement that with softball and piano and art lessons and everything else. For that to really happen is very challenging.
Yes, but I love that we're doing a cooking badge with the Girl Scouts right now because they actually do have a couple of assignments.
Yeah.
So
That's true. Yeah.
it kind of gives some structure to that. It has that smart time, that there is a timeline for when they have to do it.
It is time sensitive.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. So that was good. Thank you for that. Here's a little bit longer one, but I thought this one was good. She has a lot of suggestions. Her name is Michelle. And she said, regarding food, you guys should trade. When you make a lasagna, make 3.
That's such a great idea.
Oh.
Don't cook theirs, but you can trade and get 2 extra meals made for you. Plus, you'll get to try new recipes without wondering if you did it correctly. That's a great idea.
That is a
That
good
is a
idea.
great idea.
I make
Oh my
amazing
God.
lasagna. I'd be happy to make 3 if I knew I
If
were
you're making
getting
1, you might as well. Like, it's not that much harder
No.
to make 3.
That's a great
and
idea.
give you one and give you one
Right.
and
Michelle,
freeze it.
So good.
Knocked it out of the park right off
Yeah.
the bat, right? I love that idea because I'm sure there are so many people like us who have a group of friends who say, I make lasagna, you make, You make matzo ball soup and you make whatever, and
Gosh,
we just trade.
It's so funny because people do this for
Yeah.
Christmas. You know, they have their Christmas cookie group where you make
Yeah.
a certain amount of cookies and you go and you trade, and then everybody. And I always think like, this is that's lovely, but who needs all those cookies? Like,
Right?
we're already inundated with cookies and treats and in the holiday season, but that's like perfect for like, what if it was soup instead? Like, you know?
Right?
Right.
Something freezable. Like my
Yeah.
lasagna freezes beautifully. I would make a lasagna and you could freeze it. You know, if we all three made 3 meals,
Yeah.
or maybe one week you make 3 meals, the next week I make 3 meals, the next week you make 3 meals, and then one
Wow.
week each someone else has made a meal. That'd be awesome. I'd love that. Maybe we should try that.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
good idea.
Food for thought.
Number 2, growing up, if we complained about what was for dinner, we had to cook the next day. I was like, I kind of like that.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Case closed.
You learn quickly that complaining does not make life easier. I love that. Number 3, similarly, I have friends who grew up in a house where if you complained about dinner, you had the exact same thing the next day. I was like, I like that one too. I love this punitive behavior. That's kind of humorous. And then she again says the same thing about giving the girls a day or two to plan. Have them help planning the schedule of the month. Post the menu, which is what I already do on my calendar, and everybody has access to that. And then she moves on to her emails and texts. She said she set up a shortcut in her phone for the letters QQQ. And you can use this for any letter, but you can set up a shortcut that says whatever you want. You can do QQQ and it could say, I'm driving, or QQQ and I'll get right back to you. Instead of having to type a whole thing, something that you find you're having to do over and over again, you can just make a shortcut for.
Oh,
My daughter made a
interesting.
shortcut. When I type Georgia, it says Georgia, the favorite daughter. So every time I say Georgia, it says Georgia, the favorite daughter will be late for softball practice today for her coaches, which is not the best shortcut. But I thought that was a good tip for anybody who didn't know about that, you know.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do that. That's cool.
Yeah,
I
you
didn't know
can.
either.
I think it has to be 3 letters, or it could be QRQ or whatever your shortcut is. But to make it something you don't use or something that's easy to touch with your thumb. Good tip. There are 2 ways to handle responding to emails, which you could do either or both. Set up an auto reply that you've received the message and we'll get back to them within 24 hours. Or you can set hours where you do your email, which is what I do. Likely 2 or 3 times a day. Those are the times you respond to email. Of course, if you read the email and it's a simple reply. But if you stop responding immediately, people will stop expecting an immediate response.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you train people on how
You do.
to. Yeah.
Move messages out of your inbox. If the email is acted on and out of your hands, take it out of your inbox. You don't keep open bills in your mailbox. Why are you junking up your inbox with all old messages? It's a good point. I'm terrible at that. I don't ever get rid of messages.
But are we talking like deleting or just moving them to another mailbox?
I think moving them into a folder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it just seems like there's so many that I end up having to reference again
Yeah.
for dates and,
Yeah.
I have so many folders.
I have a lot of folders too.
And
It seems kind of ridiculous, but
it's overwhelming. But you're right. It's that if you move them, they're out of your inbox. But I don't know. Scheduling. Love the Power Hour, and I often have 2 in a row. Love it. Jordan Page is a blogger, YouTuber based in Utah. She has several great videos on block scheduling and increasing productivity. So I thought I'd pass it on.
Okay,
I meant
Jordan
to check her
Page.
out, and I didn't. There's a philosophy that if you're looking for more time in your day, it's in the morning. This may not work with your schedule, but if you can, even 30 minutes in the morning can make a world of difference. And maybe have tea. That time is mine, and it makes a huge difference in my desire to get shit done. I'm nearly 45, and I have a bedtime. Plus, I get up early, so I have to get to bed on time. Protect the time you need for rest, even if you don't sleep. And remember, everything takes longer than you think it will.
Oh,
Everything.
Yes.
You're probably not going to finish the to-do list. Try to look at the list of things that need to be done and decide what portion of those things you'll accomplish today. And don't feel badly if it doesn't all get done. Sometimes you have to rewrite the to-do list just so you can cross off rewrite to-do list. Totally been there. Love this episode, Michelle. Thank you, Michelle.
Oh, those are great.
that's cool. Yeah.
Can you forward that to us?
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's a great list. Okay. Amber sent a recipe. I'm going to put it on my website. It's for easy bake ravioli. Easy bake
Awesome.
ravioli.
Cool.
I printed it out, and she says She also likes to make crock pot chili with ground beef and beans. Have that one night, and then she turns the leftovers either into taco filling or a dump casserole, where you dump it in a casserole dish and cover it with a cornbread mix and bake for half an hour. Friday night's pizza night for her also. And a quick dinner for her is breakfast for dinner. Eggs, bacon, sausage, and she just has to whip up some kind of pastry.
You guys, I have a new breakfast
What?
thing. Have I told you about the chaffle?
No.
What's a chaffle?
I did not come up with this. I learned about this from the Happier podcast with Gretchen Rubin. It is it's very low carb, or it's one of these. Okay, it doesn't matter.
It's
I'm not that.
healthy-ish.
It's healthy-ish. Yeah. It's basically just it's like an omelet, except for it's egg, cheese, and a little bit. You don't have to do this. You can do just egg and cheese, but a little bit of almond flour helps it to plump up. Obviously, doesn't work for nut allergies,
Right.
but
You could probably do it with regular flour.
and you put it in a waffle iron. And so it comes out like a waffle,
How
but
crazy.
it's this cheesy, eggy waffle. My kids love the chaffle, and it's very healthy. It's a breeze to do. It's
you don't have to watch it, probably.
No, exactly. It's not like the omelet where you're like watching it and making sure to flip it in time. It's just sitting there in the waffle iron, and
Brilliant.
yeah,
Huh,
I love
that's
the
so
chaffle.
Cool.
yeah, it's great. So that would be good for breakfast for dinner too.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing that.
Awesome.
The chaffle. That's awesome. Okay, Lillian Nolan wrote a very long email, so I'm only reading a portion of it. Now let's talk about meal planning. I've found I have a solid, doable meal in place for the month. I can get everything else under control. I typically sit down and do my monthly plan on the last Friday of the month. So I start with the actual meal plan. I love to have a separate calendar just for meal planning. Putting it in my main schedule confuses me. It's just too much going on. So for her, that's what she does. So
I agree. I like mine being separate.
You like
too,
it separate?
Actually, yeah.
So I write my meals down, then I make my grocery list for each week. I don't think about what I already have. I just make the list for every meal. After I make my grocery list, I go through and find the things I already have that I don't need to buy, like ketchup, rice, etc., and cross them off the list. For my budget, where we live, I use Walmart grocery pickup. I put my order in on Saturday night for what I need for the week and pick it up on Sunday morning. Along with my list for dinners, I also order what snacks and lunches I need to stock up on. There's nothing I hate more than having to go to the grocery store right before dinner and pick something up. This helps me stick to my budget and saves me so much time. And who wants to drag a 4 and a 2-year-old to the grocery store when they're getting hungry for dinner? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
There are some great ladies on Instagram I follow for quick dinner inspiration and organization. The first is Kate at Naptime Kitchen. She has great, healthy, quick dinner options and has a fabulous blog. The next is Kendra at The Lazy Genius. She has great organizational tips and a fabulous podcast. Love and light from North Carolina, Lillian. Thank you, Lillian.
Awesome.
That Walmart is a great idea.
That's a
Yeah.
great idea.
Because Walmart is so affordable for everything. I love Walmart. It's just far for me. I don't shop there because it's a 20-minute drive. And in that 20 minutes, I could run 4 errands. So I don't go to Walmart. But if I could order and pick it up, maybe that would be great. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I feel like I should try that because Walmart is right next to school. I'm next to one every flipping day.
Maybe you should.
Oh, yeah.
But
Try
I
it
always
and report
get
back.
super nervous about like having somebody else grab my produce.
I have to tell you, I do
You
that with
know?
Instacart.
Yeah.
I have one time someone bought me avocados that I could have used as a doorstop. And I was like, these are like 2 months from ripe. Who picked these damn avocados? But that was the only time.
Yeah.
And everything else has been really, really great because think about it. Are you going to reuse the service if they bring you a bunch of shit? No.
True. Right.
They
That's
want
true.
to bring you stuff that's been chosen. They want to do a good job, so you keep using their service. That was my philosophy when I tried it the first time. I was like, they're not going to bring me a half rotten apple because then I'm never going to ask them to bring me another apple.
Right.
And I haven't been
That's a good point.
disappointed. Just that one time, I was like, seriously, with the avocados. And who knows? Maybe there were no ripe avocados. You know, sometimes there are days when
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
find one. So maybe that was what was happening. And a service like Instacart, you can, you know, they'll say this particular store is running low on that item. Here are 2 options to substitute for that item. Which would you like? So at least you know the inventory at that store. and know
Right.
that you can make a substitute. Now, I don't know how Walmart's worked. I've never worked, but I wonder if you can order other things from Walmart, like paper goods or aluminum foil or
Well, she said she ordered
dog
snacks
food.
and stuff.
She did
so
order snacks,
I bet you could.
but like household
I don't
items,
know. I'll
like
have to
cleaning
see.
products.
Kathy, please
Like,
try.
I wonder. I'll
and
try
report
it
back.
and let you know.
Please try and report back.
Okay, will
Recon
do.
mission. Recon mission podcast.
Let's see what happens. Okay.
Please. Okay. Hannah Roberts says, I wanted to highly recommend the Six Sisters menu plan. It's a weekly menu plan that is delivered to your email every Friday, including recipes, main dishes, sides, and desserts. And even better, the shopping list for each item. Their online portal allows you to remove recipes you know your family may not eat and allows you to add your own items to the shopping list. Sounds awesome. Let's see. I'm not being paid to recommend this. I'm just a fellow mom that needed some help when I was working and found this system, which is literally $1 a week, has helped me beyond belief. Everything is delicious and it's not crazy repetitive. Love, wife of the party. Please keep it up. You're spectacular. Thank you.
You are spectacular.
Thank you, Hannah. But that's great.
But that's cool. Somebody does it for you.
Someone does it for you and it shows
That's
up in your
interesting.
inbox and and the shopping list shows up in your inbox. You must just push print or add
That's
it to your
super helpful.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So I was going to check that out and just see what it was like.
Right.
For $1 a week. Come on. I'd
be
pay
up.
$1
For new recipes? Uh-huh.
Yeah. And a
100%.
shopping list.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant. Thank you. Okay. This one I thought was really interesting. This one's more about organizing. It's from Elizabeth Rivera. One thing that's been helping me to get more organized is using Cass's cleaning schedule from Clutterbug as a framework for keeping household chores perpetually done. So I have one less thing to think about. I'm going to talk about that before I read the rest of her email. So I went to clutterbug.com and you can take a free test to find out what type of clutterbug you are. Like if you're a hoarder, if you are,
If you're drowning in paper.
there's like, if you're drowning in paper. Yes, there's like 4 different types. And she names them bugs like crickets or ladybugs or whatever. But I was a busy bee.
Shocking.
And a busy bee is someone who has good organizational skills, but is too busy to keep them implemented all the time. So
Oh,
the
yeah.
papers start stacking up and things start not getting done because they're too busy.
I think
so-
I might be a busy bee too.
I was a busy bee. There was a hoarder, a busy bee, a cricket. The cricket, I don't remember what the cricket was, but a cricket was definitely not a hoarder, but not me either. I don't remember. But what was cool about this is I guess this Clutterbug has a lot of links on Pinterest with pictures of how people have organized based on their type of bug. So I would go into the busy bee Pinterest and see how busy bees have organized and functioned within the way that they are cluttered, right? Thought that was really brilliant.
Interesting. Yeah.
I didn't explore Clutterbug super deeply, but I took my little test and went, oh, I'm a busy bee. And then looked at it very
I
briefly.
gotta make notes for
But-
all these things.
I know,
Why-
right?
I know.
I'll
I'm
just take-
going to have to.
But I'm going to go in and see about how I keep my chores perpetually done through Busy Bee. That's really cool. So her email continues. I also try to make at least a few freezer crock pot meals a week that I can throw in when I leave for work and have ready by the time we get home. I love your blog.
Smart.
I know,
Smart.
right? Just throw it in the freezer and go clunk, hi, and you're done.
Mm,
That's brilliant.
yeah.
Right? I love your block system, and even working full time, I think having afternoons organized into tasks is going to be crazy helpful. I can't wait to try it out. I hope it worked for you, Elizabeth. Thank you for all your pointers, your awesome podcast. It's like having a cheery friend you can always count on to make you think and make you smile. How nice. That was really nice. But that busy bee, that Clutterbug, I can't wait to check that out.
Yeah.
To
Yeah,
do
I'm
a
super
deep dive.
curious.
Yeah,
Me
I
too.
want to
Yeah.
dive into Clutterbug as well.
All right. Am I reading too many? Are you guys getting bored?
No, they've been good.
Yeah.
I only have 2 more. Luke, another guy. I love when guys
Awesome.
email. Hey, love the podcast. My wife and I have been doing a commune meal 2 times a week with our best friends, and it's so helpful. We do Mondays, and they do Wednesdays. So naturally, we use a crock pot on occasion. Instead of having to scrub and the crud from the bottom of the crock pot, we found it helpful to use disposable plastic liners. As the dishwasher of our relationship, this is a huge help and makes dishes like banh mi, where you end up pre-cooking with the pot before broiling in the oven, much easier. Look forward to all your great advice you give out about marriage. Much love, Luke. But I thought the commune meal is similar to what she was saying, making 3. But that's cool that they have it like you do Mondays,
Right.
I do Wednesdays, and they just trade.
Yeah.
I think that would work
And then
for a
you
lot
know
of family.
one day a week, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, it just shows up,
Yeah.
especially for neighbors or sisters or somebody that lived close by. I thought that was really great.
Nice.
This is my last one, I think. Yeah. This is from Diana. She love your podcast. Thought you might like this super easy and quick fish recipe I use a lot. It's from Ina Garden. It's like a red snapper recipe that is cooked on like a sheet pan with parchment paper. Oh no, I have one more after this. So I'll post that on my website too. The only way I ate fish growing up was fried. I don't know how to cook fish. And I don't really like fish. And I think it's because I wasn't really exposed to fish was part of it. So I printed this out really for me because I'm always looking for a good fish recipe because fish are so healthy. And I just don't know what to do with them. So for anybody that's like me. Oh, this is from, maybe this was her. Diana. Yes. She also makes this. Oh, wait, I didn't read the whole thing. Duh. Oh, yes, I did. I had this link from her too, though, that was for a creamy crock pot white chicken chili. And it's a crock pot recipe, and my kids love white chili. I don't know if your kids love white chili, but it's really good. So I thought I would post that online too. Thank you, Diana. Because white chili is one of those things you throw everything in there and turn it on.
Yeah.
And you're done. So I have a lot of stuff to put on my website this week.
There's a lot of really good suggestions in there.
A lot of them. That was a good podcast. I think a lot of people were inspired, maybe. At least inspired to give their 2 cents, which is good. I like that.
Yeah. New
I
recipes
feel like
are
I want to
always
do
good.
this again in a couple of months. I liked having the structure of it being a challenge. Like, oh, well, it's just this month. It's just this month. We're going to just, and then, but I figured out so many things that worked. But now hearing so many other options, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I want to try this.
Well, I feel like it needs to be tweaked a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. Each of us for our own individual needs, right?
Yeah,
The emailing
exactly.
thing doesn't work for you. I don't know if it works for you or not, but it definitely worked for me. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to look in this Clutterbug thing and see how I can, because what I read on the at being a busy bee was me to a T. I am very organized. I have a place for everything, but I get so busy that I just start stacking stuff up, and then I'll have to stop and declutter before I can start working. And that makes me nuts. So, I'm interested to see what that. Well, we can totally do this again. Do you want to do it for November, or do you want to do it for like
Too soon.
a few months? I'm just asking. Too soon. I know it's about to get really hectic.
Right.
November, December are going to be crazy.
But I guess that's the
months.
question, though. Can this stuff be continued over the next 2 months when it gets really crazy?
I want
You know
to
what I mean?
continue
Like,
doing what I've been
can
doing,
you-
but
Me
I'd
too.
like to tweak and add and sort of add a
Exactly.
skill every couple of weeks.
So then, do we need that to be structured or defined, or do you want to just regroup like in February or March and say, this is a regroup,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
touch base. What have you implemented? What's fallen to
What
the
have you
wayside?
added? What
What-
have you read about?
Yeah.
What have you gotten
Yeah.
rid of? Like after, because I feel like, a month is a challenge, but like, can you really sustain it? And
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
it? Yeah. I feel like that's a better idea.
Okay,
A
so
few months
since
down the road.
nothing was sustainable for you, nothing worked
That's
for
not
you, Kathy.
entirely true. I feel like it didn't work, but I know that it can and it should, and it has in the past.
Okay,
So I'm not willing to give up.
okay,
Um,
good.
But yeah, I felt
Because half of this shit came from you.
I felt very disorganized this month, which is frustrating.
I did too. I felt a little bit like I felt like I was being ragdolled all month.
It was a crazy month. You had your dad here for a week. I had my mom here for a week. All of the fire days. There were other days off of school that weren't fire days.
There were a lot of Jewish holidays this month.
There were
Yeah.
a lot of
The
Jewish
school's
holidays,
out.
which
It was a chaotic month.
And it's Halloween.
Yeah.
And and I got a puppy
No big deal.
and I bought a house.
Yeah.
It's been, this month was really, but the good news is if we could do any of it this month,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
do it forever.
Exactly.
Kathy did none of it. So she can't do any of that. Just kidding. But Okay, so I think we decided we're going to loosely continue on
Uh-huh.
and then regroup maybe after the first of the year and see what stuck, what didn't stick, what else we've discovered. I think that's a good plan. Just keep
Be
notes.
curious to know how other people did too.
I would be too.
because they all said like, I'm excited to try this.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yes.
wonder how other
Let
people,
us
if they were
know.
successful
Email
or not.
Leanne.
Well,
You
yeah,
know?
email me because
Yeah.
I would like to know how October went.
Mhm.
So let me know how it went. And then let me know, keep me posted, I guess, as we go on. I still want to hear stuff like this clutterbug.com or the smart way of thinking. I always want to hear stuff like that. Remember, my goal is to learn. So it's helpful when someone else gives me some great piece of information that I can research or try or share. So I want to hear all of it. You can email me at leanne@wifeotp.com, or you can go to wifeotp.com and there's a contact tab there if you can't remember, leanne@wifeotp.com. So all of this will be on my episodes tab. Scroll down past the links to the actual episodes and I'll have some buttons or tabs there so you can find them easily. I thought this was really cool.
I'm glad
Yeah.
we did it. Yeah.
Are you glad we did it?
Yeah.
Good. I'm
Yeah,
glad
me
we did it too. Thanks for doing it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can we just take a moment here? The three of us have done a lot, right?
We have.
I don't know how this team developed. It was kind of accidental because, I mean, I love the two of you, but I also love my other friends who aren't on this specific team. Like, it's not a discredit to Jeannie or Sandy or Lynn or anybody
No,
else.
it was accidental.
Yeah.
It was
It was
because
accidental.
I think the first time when you put out an email to our larger book club who wants to come in and do a book club podcast, I think we were the only two who were available
Right.
or wanted to read the first book.
And the same for pole
And-
dancing. I threw
Yeah.
a broad net, and you two were the only ones that were available for that first scheduling. I know we had to reschedule, and I was like, it's just too much for me, for my bandwidth to email 8 people every time. I'm going to just stick to the 2 that I can sucker in the easy, that I can strong arm in here easy. But so I don't want anybody to think that you're special because you're not.
Yeah,
no,
we're-
I'm joking.
We're not.
But it is really special. This is a really special journey. I've really appreciated the rock
It's been
climbing
fun.
and the pole dancing and the book clubbing and doing this stuff together. It's really cool. I've enjoyed doing it with the two of you very much.
Me
And
too. It's fun to have accountability partners and people
Yes.
to like just talk about it with.
Yeah.
Instead of just because a lot of the time a challenge it's not fun, and then therefore you're more likely to ditch the challenge unless it's social. Like obviously
right.
we've learned that from Bert.
Sober October.
but yeah.
Right.
Very true. And it is good to be on a journey with other people who want to learn. Because that's the key, really, right? Is to learn. Is to learn that this month was really hard to implement this. We learned that. I learned a lot this month. I learned a lot from rock climbing and to be open and willing to learn from each other. I think it's very special. I don't think it's common that people can get in a group setting and be open enough to learn from each other. People get egos and get defensive and protective and take things personally, and that's very special. That speaks to who you two are as individuals. So, not to mention me, toss. No, but seriously, it does speak to who you are as individuals. So, thank you for doing all this with me. I know it takes time out of this schedule that we put, the 2 hours that looks like 5, but it's really only 2, and we don't get paid. So it's just a journey of love, I guess, of love and learning. And I really appreciate that you're doing this with me because clearly it's my passion project, but I don't know. I don't think I would enjoy this passion project without you. So thank you very much.
Oh, thanks.
Well,
Thank
thanks for
you.
having us.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that schmoopy note, thanks everybody who participated. Please do email me. I'm anxious to hear what everybody has to say. And thanks for tuning in every week. And I have to say one more thing, right? I talk a lot about a lot of personal things on this email. God, I'm starting out wrong. Let me start over. Wait a minute. Maybe I shouldn't be talking about this. Never mind. I'm going to keep it to myself. Thank you, everybody who reaches out and tells me what this podcast means to them. it means a lot to me to hear that, because I doubt myself sometimes in opening my personal life. I don't mean to be gossipy or flashy or negative to another person I may be talking about that affected me negatively. That's not my intention. My intention is for us to have a group where people are comfortable to feel what they feel and maybe can realize they're not alone. So even in a light, fun journey like this, or even when I'm talking about my mom, I really appreciate all the emails I've gotten about how much talking about my mom has meant to people, because that means a lot to me. And I appreciate it. So thank you very much, everybody. So we'll see you next time. I don't even know what next week's going to be, but
Something fun.
something
I'm sure.
fun. I hope. All right. Bye.